What's up guys, K-Plays here. Are you all enjoying the Sunbreak demo? Because I sure am. Pretty much every weapon got some nice new tools to play with, and let me tell you, Hunting Horn feels amazing. Finally getting my hands on it after all this time waiting just makes my excitement to play the full game even stronger. A few hours spent messing around in the demo has given me a pretty decent understanding of what we can expect, and I've pulled 5 main details out to share with you all. And all of it is pretty hype inducing. Let's get right into number 1. Now, as fancy as they might look, one big issue I had with Hunting Horn's new combos and Rise is that they completely cut off your access to back slams unless you're attacking from neutral. In past games, that was a very nice move for sniping targets with a single hard-hitting attack, so limiting its usage hurts. Luckily, the devs have caught on and fixed that. Back slams are back. You can now mix them in between a lot more attacks, one of the strongest of those options being the Crush. Its ability to fine-tune your positioning pairs well with the unorthodox movement of back slams. This new possible Crush backslam loop definitely has some potential against those down monsters, but even against moving targets you can chain these together for some heavy jabs. More attacking options are always appreciated. Speaking of attacking options, number 2 on our list brings us to the recitals, specifically the Echo Mode Chord recital. To make a long story short, it got buffed. Just attacking with it or looking into the numbers, Chord is now roughly 18% stronger than it is in Rise. The Infernal Melody charging rate looks like it got a bit of a bump too. That all means that when deciding between Performance Mode and Echo Mode, it's now a matter of going with either iframes and automatic song playing or higher damage and rapid fire manual song playing. Finding this out was a nice surprise. Capcom did mention that there might be further adjustments in the full game, but if to keep these numbers right here, you'll need to consider things a little more when choosing your melody mode. As a fan of Echo Mode myself, I want a solid Heal Large or Sonic Wave Horn even more now that we'll be hitting harder as we toss out songs back to back. On the topic of songs, let's move on to number 3. Sharpness Regen and how generally busted in the best way possible it feels. On one hand, looking through the Hunter's notes, I was a bit disappointed to see that this may be the only new song we're getting in Sunbreak, at least in the base game, you never know. On the other hand though, this is one hell of a song that they gave us. From the gameplay footage we got earlier this month, I thought that it was giving back a small chunk of sharpness every 5 seconds or so based on the flashing of the sharpness bar. But now that I'm able to experiment with it myself, it looks like it regenerates a hit or so about every second. When I tell you that for the minute that this buff is active, I actually had to try to drop a sharpness level for more than a few hits before the song recovered what I was using. This song is going to be great, I tell you. All we need is for it to be on a decent amount of horns with solid stats, and we'll pretty much have access to permanent max sharpness. We already don't use any sharpness on sound-based hits, but not using much on physical hits either. The new multi-hitting moves we avoided for the sake of sharpness maintenance before will appreciate this a lot. And that'll be a great thing to have moving forward too, considering number 4 on this list. Silkbind Shockwave is just perfect. I'm sad in hindsight that we didn't get this in Rise. I want to use this through all of Sunbreak and have something like in every future Monster Hunter game after it. Make it happen, Capcom. The time-delayed sound bombs on every hit compared with Hunting Horn's new fast-hitting nature gets just as crazy as you would expect, and I love it. You know that thing we were all thinking in the back of our heads when we saw the Silkbind and, thought of moves like Multi-Crush or Magnificent Trio? 3 words. Damage numbers everywhere. For a couple split seconds at a time, some people out there are right. We kinda do turn into blunt dual blades. The best thing about this is that it's not only hilarious to see in action, but it also has some serious power potential behind it too. All those little hits rack up KO and exhaust at a pretty decent rate. But where they'll really shine is in the full game when we get access to Elemental and Status Horns, because they have a whopping 1.5 times Elemental modifier. That's a lot on hits that come out so frequently. Hopefully just enough that at least in some cases our meta preferences shift to something more varied than just stacking raw attack on 1 to 2 attack up horns and calling it a day. Getting a sneak peek at Lou Nagaron's Hunting Horn having both an element up and sharpness regen songs excites me for the options we have in store for us. It might be a good idea to take another look at the element focused horns we already have in Rise like Valstrax, Narwa, and Raknikadaki, because they could be in for a nice power up pretty soon. Now, last but not least, let's talk some more sneak peeks at a few options. As most of you have seen by now, we're only given one of the new Silkbinds shown in the showcase for each weapon. That was honestly a bit disappointing at first since I really wanted to see what the deal was with that swing combo. But luckily, people have managed to find a way to unlock the hidden switch skills, so I actually can tell you guys about the rest of our new toys. If for some reason you don't want to be spoiled on any of the hidden stuff, well, then this has been another K-Plays and all that good stuff. But if you do, let's end this list on number 5 and talk about some leaks. Swing combo is interesting. With what little the showcase explained to us, I was worried that we'd be losing some important moves here in Crush and Multi-Crush. But that actually doesn't seem to be the case. In fact, as far as I can see, there's actually no real trade-off at all. You'll combo into Nunu's swing attack after a left or right swing. I get the swing music pun here, but that's gonna get so confusing. But anyway, aside from this one new combo path, all the rest of your new moves and combos pretty much stay the same. You can still access Crush in pretty much every way you could before, and multi-Crush can be comboed into after a kick-up or a Silkbind Shockwave. Plus now you get a new move with solid damage numbers and some repositioning abilities. It also throws a bone to the Hunting Horn players that wanted to see some old animations come back, which is a thing I guess. Swings are encores if you just look at the move itself, but from a mechanical standpoint they're not encores. Maybe in the full game we'll see more of a decision here, but as of right now I don't see much reason not to go with swing combo. Finally, we have our unrevealed, big mystery, top secret, last Silkbind. Are you guys ready to see it? Are you sure? Now introducing Bead of Resonance 2.0. Yay! No, but on a serious note, while it may be slightly disappointing that instead of a clear competitor for Earthshaker, we got what looks to be another kinda gimmicky ability, I actually want to give this one a chance when Sunbreak drops. Like Bead, this unnamed ability drops a cocoon in the position you're standing when you activate it, except this one doesn't deal damage during the placing animation. Instead of doing small bursts of damage and playing extra songs though, this one absorbs your songs through a tether. Play enough to charge it past level 3 or move far enough to break the tether and the cocoon will explode for a massive burst of sound damage. Not quite Earthshaker massive, but still pretty powerful. Concentrating all its damage into a single detonation means that it doesn't share Bead's problem of having to rack up small bursts while the monster's in range, but you will still have to play around its stationary effect. Luckily, it stays active for a pretty long time, so when it's fully primed, you just have to wait until the monster's a magician to pull the trigger with the recital. I'd love for it to turn out that this Silkbind can actually hold its own against Earthshaker, but whether or not that happens, we'll really have to see in the full game. It seems like it recharges a bit faster, so that's at least something. And being tied to frequent song playing sounds like it'll be nice for an echo mode or trio focus playstyle. Bead unfortunately doesn't look like it'll be in much of a different position for that because it didn't really get any adjustments. But I'm sure we Hunting Horn players know that the demo numbers aren't necessarily finalized for the full game. Maybe, hopefully, Capcom might do us a solid and throw us some buffs this time. With just 2 weeks to go, it'll be no time at all until we find out. If or when they do their final adjustments for the full game, I'll be revisiting all this stuff in greater detail. In the meantime though, let me know how you're liking all the new changes in this demo and for Hunting Horn or any other weapon in the comments below. I'll be practicing Sunbreak Hunting Horn some more and trying my hardest not to go and spoil the flagship monster in a demo for myself for once. Malzeno looks crazy from the few examples I've seen, but I kinda want my own first experience of him to be in the full game. When that time comes though, you better believe that this vampire is getting staked and turned into a musical instrument. Until then though, this has been another K-Plays and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.